Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. For those that are live, again, sorry for being a couple minutes late. We had very loud construction here, but now we are just in the normal New York apartment level of construction noise that's just ambient that will just continue throughout my life. So I think we're good right now. A few videos, and yeah, we've got some videos to go through. We've got some images to go through. We've got a congratulations to Diana for making it as a finalist, Diana Lee as a finalist for, I think, like 3D Artist of the Year on the Rookie Awards, which is big, and that's awesome. So congratulations for that, Diana. Yep, clapping for that. That's very good. Today we're going to start off here with Aaron, your update on the Chameleon, which is looking super rad. You want to talk us through it?
I don't think you're sharing your screen, but
I'm not sharing my screen. I am intentionally wanting people to imagine the majesty that is your Chameleon. That's like twice. That's like 2 days in a row. I learned since I've turned 40. I've learned 0 things. I just keep repeating the same mistakes.
yeah. So this was. I think you gave it a couple notes last time.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did those notes over the weekend, and I was like, cool, done, awesome. I posted it like in all my usual channels, and then like my friend who I work with wrote me, and he's like, hey, this noise around the antenna, and I was like, oh, all right. So, that cricket is rendered at like 6K to get rid of the noise in those antennas. It's a huge file, and it took a very long time to render and QC.
It looks great. I'm not on my screen at my end. I've got a big professional monitor here. I'm not seeing any noise. I think it looks pretty clean.
But no, I mean that's it.
That's it. Yeah, I think it looks great. I don't have any additional notes. I'm surprised actually. Usually like the drool elements will generate a lot of noise too, but I'm not seeing them here. It looks really, really great. So I think I'm ready to clap for it. I don't know if anybody else is in that same boat, but let's. This is the final file. Should I add this to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Congratulations, Aaron.
Cool.
This is great,
Thanks.
man. This is the best. This is the best thing you've ever made.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Like I'm excited to be done with it. I can get you a higher res version of this if that's important to you. Like, I mean, this was a quote quick export out of.
Yeah, just when you're done with it, send it over to me. Send me the final version, and then we will.
Sure.
And then I'll post that. I know how finicky I can be about like what's considered the final. You know what I mean? Like, so I always give people an opportunity to make one last little tweak or a resolution thing or whatever.
Yeah. If I revisit it, there is a debris element that keeps crashing on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the artist who did it, I was like, I will try one more time. I'll try a couple more things, but like, I can't like, you know, if I can't get it done in a weekend, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a fair assessment of it. Is
the
like,
same artist did the drool, so like I'm kind of hoping they're like, well, at least I got something in there.
And I think it's okay. I mean, I think that is I am not for someone. I'm not for chasing my own tail around for a while. I'm also not for like, you know, the lack of that one debris element isn't a reason to stop making something. So I just think it's like, you know, sometimes it's like sometimes things just don't work out. So, but overall, this looks really, really great.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We've got Chris here, and then we will like. So I'm gonna try and go through those that are here, and then I'll go through to Rubi, Ubed, Keven, Chris, Julia. Okay. Cool. All right, Chris. So first thing I'm looking at is the couch. I'm not seeing any movement on any stuff bouncing around. I think that looks great. I think the character looks good. I'm just, you know what? I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm just going to the hotkeys to make a screen. Oh, that's not it. Hotkey to make a screen grab. There we go. And let me just screen grab this. And I'm wondering if just looking at the character, and I just want to take him and I just want like up the midtones a little bit on him and possibly warm him up a touch. that light tapping in the background is in my head all the time these days. Here we go. I'm just looking at the skin. I know this is kind of doing some weird stuff to his eyes, but I think that we can. I think everything is looking really good across the board. I just maybe want to. Yeah.
Okay, you finished it for me.
Good, done and done. So yeah, it's just a matter of brightening up those midtones a touch, and then just adding a bit of warmth in there, and I think it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on this one? Ruby, you were in an attic today or somewhere. You're in like a spaceship or?
Yeah, it's the only room that doesn't have like pictures all over.
It's cool. It's a neat space.
Yeah, I've been sitting with family, so I had to fireplace.
Oh, good. Well, that is. I usually when I'm with family, it's like I just hide out in a closet or something. So that's good. That's good. All right. Ubed. So let's see. I have your video up here. This is super cool. So let's see. So this is the real-time setup of this with the fish moving and everything kind of swimming around. The distortion on it. Once you realize this stuff is real time, you're like, whoa, that's super cool. Yeah, so I dread the idea of the audience being able to turn the camera around and look the other way. That scares the bejesus out of me. And so this is cool. So, and it's nice too. Do you get the way that the atmosphere is working too? Like as we get closer to stuff, the dark values kind of get closer. You know what I'm saying? Like the darks get darker as they get closer, which is nice. Which I didn't necessarily expect out of this, but I think that's what looking really well. In terms of the still images that you're generating from this, I still think that I like the brightness up here. I'm not like convinced that this looks right. I think that feels a little off to me. But I also want to channel some of these light rays a little bit more centrally, so they're not like, because right now there's a haze that is kind of over everything, which is good because that's what underwater does. But there's also at times these like beautiful God rays that can come down that are a little bit more like you can define their shape a little bit stronger. So I think that what I would do is I would take this overall haze, tone it down a little bit, and then see if we can't do a secondary element, which is just more focused, like God rays coming through here. And then pulling back that haze will actually allow those darker elements to happen earlier, or like when they're a little further away from camera. And then the other thing, let me go back to the video. Yeah, because like if you had that focusing down here, because some of this with real-time stuff is, I mean, and you could make that like make patches of that throughout the area if you want. But some of the thing with this real-time rendering, audience has control. We talked about this a lot in we were playing a lot with VR stuff, and this idea of how do you get the audience to focus on where you want them to, even when they have the option of being wherever they want. And I think that isolating these beams of God rays just around this character really will help bring people back. And I do think that the light coming through that's hitting him can even get a little bit brighter. That's kind of like, think of it as like the heavens are opening him up and there's a beam of light that's just like seeing this one thing, and that's the big kind of a, I don't know how else to describe it other than making that noise, which I will not repeat. So I think that's good. Do you have any questions? Are you?
Yeah, Michael, thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, this is looking great. Your real-time stuff is really, really good.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that would be it. Just like really kind of focusing in.
Yeah.
You may even I would consider shifting the color of the octopus, like just because just pushing the reds a little bit stronger, like even just like upping the saturation on the red to get him again to pop out from everything else. It doesn't allow him to set as much into the space, but I think it still works. I think because I think he looks better when he's like pure, a little bit closer to like a pure red color. That's
Yeah,
true.
I'll definitely like keep in mind.
Okay,
for
great.
The next whip.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Hannah just joined us in perfect timing. I was just about to go to hers anyway. So here we are. Hannah, welcome. If you can say hi. I don't know if you have the microphone handy. But we've got two projects.
Hello.
Hey, yeah, perfect. You're loud and clear.
Hi.
All right, cool. All right, so we've got, again, these are some real-time render stuff. And we've got some references here. This is references for the second project, which we'll take a look at here. We're on this one. Let's actually talk about this one first. So a couple elements that I really love about this. I love the feeling of the character going through different like lighting spaces and ramping up the intensity and kind of the how do I say it? The drama towards the end with like this brighter, more colorful light, and I think that really really works. A couple things to look into. One, it looks like the outside is moving. Like is this on some sort of vehicle or something?
I hadn't noticed that actually. It's the first time I see it.
Okay. So
It's not supposed to be moving. I think it's the camera and it's probably parallax that makes it.
I see. It feels like it's moving like ladder, like it's moving towards the camera, like we're on a train that's rolling forward. But that's fine. The other, let's see, the other elements is I think we can play up the amount of like the light at the end can feel a little bit more underneath. It's hitting a little frontally. I want to see if we can go underneath it a little bit more. And then are you using depth of field in this, like a depth of field blur?
Yes, I am. I'm using it directly in Unreal. I know
Got
that
it.
there's a possibility to turn it off and then use it in New.
Got it. Yeah. Either way, the one thing that I'm noticing is like at the beginning, this like all of the foreground elements are in focus, and then and the character's kind of out of focus, and then as the character steps in, then this stuff gets a little bit blurrier, and we focus more on the character. For me, just because the character doesn't really surprise us too much, like we know that it's there, I think we can keep the focus on the character throughout the shot, and then that's not what I want to do. And then track the character forward as the character moves forward, it's the focus is following the character that way. I think this light might be a bit too saturated on the character. I would pull it back about 20% on the saturation, just because like go ahead.
The intention there was to have a fire. I actually had the effects, but they stopped somewhere midway, so I submitted the
Okay.
entirely. Like the
Like-
light is animated. I just don't know if I.
No, it's working pretty well. It depends. So like fire animates differently in different scenarios. Like a campfire is a little bit more slower moving. It's and again, you can play with this based on the mood, but like a fire that's kind of like problematic, I guess, a fire that's kind of burning out of control, the pops can happen a little bit faster, and the undulation of it can be a little bit higher. So I think this is actually working out pretty well as a fire. I think it might be too fast. It feels like it's pulsing a little bit. I would maybe slow down the speed of it. And then
And the intensity of it.
I was thinking more the saturation, but I think the intensity is okay. I think maybe just the orange color could be pulled back just a little bit. And then, so I love that he's walking through those shapes, and then he goes into darkness, and then he merges into this. I'm wondering if that light that's hitting him from overhead. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for it to be more of like a rim light at the end, but I don't know. I'm trying to think how that would work if there's that darkness between. I think it's okay. I also think that we could get there might be an opportunity for more kind of more saturation or more contrast throughout. Like the darks can get a little bit darker. I like that it's kind of hazy back behind the character back in here, but the character itself gets a little bit. The darks could get a little bit more crisp and more like pronounced.
On the character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. On the character and the foreground elements. So it's like a little bit more contrast in the foreground. This is great overall. This looks really good. All right. Let's go to the camera. So with this one of the things that's distracting to me is the reflections inside the lens. It's funny. I have a camera right. Well, I'm pointing at it now. I've got a camera with a similar type of lens right there. I've got like a SLR, and it's not that mirror-like on the inside. It's a little bit dark. Yeah, go ahead.
So the issue that I have with this one is actually that it looks okay in Unreal. It looks much less reflective, but then I friend comes out. I think it's a technical issue, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe Jordan.
Yeah, I would post it to Jordan if in the Unreal Help channel, or somebody else can respond if they know. We've got a few others. There's also the Unreal community as a whole is very supportive on this stuff. So in that case, I won't critique it too much, just knowing that yeah.
Just as a caveat.
Yeah. No, and then I think, well, from a structural standpoint, like I love the idea of this window light, like, you know, the panes of this stuff all in the background. I think is really, really cool. I think it's a little bit too much everywhere. I think it would be better if it was more focused, like right in here, and then all of this stuff could just kind of go into a regular shadow, so that we can use that element not only to imply that there's stuff off camera, but we can also use it to focus the viewer's eye by allowing other things to go a little bit darker.
So the leaves as well?
The leaves as well, yeah. All that. So think of it as a smaller window that's only going right around the camera here, and then all this stuff can go a little bit, because really what it is this stuff just kind of sets the stage, and it's, you know, but the camera is our focus, and so we like having it here because it suggests a larger world, but we don't need to see every detail of it, right? And I'm wondering if it might be better, unless the strap, the Ingrid thing I think might be important, but I think the strap aesthetically might be better if it wrapped behind it. But I'm not going to stop you from doing that if you have a good reason for it. I just think that normally you don't want something like that between you and the main subject matter. If this was like a product shot for Leica, it is a Leica, right? Yeah. You would probably want that strap behind so that we could see the whole thing. But yeah. Other than that, like I said, yeah, just work on that technical thing. Once you get that cleared, we'll take a look at it again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. All right. One last video. I think we got all the rest. Yeah, one last video is from Stephanie. So Stephanie had a fate that many of us do during these projects, and that she got a corrupt file towards the end and without a backup. So she's taking what she's got, and the big thing that we're trying to do is just get some shadow under these characters, which let's see, the big shots that we were looking at with this one and this one. So I think this shot works really well. I think the shadow looks the best here. It doesn't quite sync up to what we're seeing here. This one feels like twice as dark as this one. So I think that lighten this one up, and the rest of the times that we see the character in this space. It's just it like that, and that's something with lighting a sequence you got to pay attention to, is just making sure that stuff stays consistent. So lighten this one, allow this to be the guide, because I think this looks really good. And then let's take a look at the other character. I think the other character might have. Yeah, same deal with the other side. You could probably lighten that shadow if that's a separate element, the same way that you're doing the other one. If not, it's not that big of a deal, because we can justify it being in a different space. But I think given the fact that you're kind of faking that in the comp, and trying to make up for the fact that you don't have the source capabilities anymore. You're doing a really good job. So that's it. Just get those two to match up with a focus more on the lighter one, and I think you're good. All right, let's hop over into the stills here. We've got Julia, Ruby. Yeah, so Montgomery will do you at the end because we'll get Ruby and Julia while they're here.
I dropped one in, just so you know.
Oh,
Sorry
okay, cool.
about that.
How dare you? I'm just kidding. I'll grab it here after that. After I get Ruby and Julia here. Okay, cool. So Ruby, sorry to make you wait this long away from your family, but I think it looks good. I think you did a good job. I realized I just did that. I do that sometimes. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's looking really good. The only thing that I think that if you want to keep twiddling with it, if you want to keep adjusting this and noodling it, is the floor tiles can get a little bit brighter themselves too. Just because they're like light generating elements, they actually have some emission to them. So I'm just looking at like this and this and this, and it feels a little clamped down. So maybe just boost those up a little bit. But overall, like this is a good exercise just to get like comfortable with using Nuke and the node-based workflow. So if you feel like you've accomplished that, I think that you're in a good space to just stay in your spaceship there and continue. Just kidding, that's cool. But I think you're good to move on from this if you're ready.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Good job. You did that really quickly, which is like these files can be a little janky sometimes, so you did a really good job at that.
Yay, thanks.
Yeah. All right, Julia, this is the updated version. This is the previous one, and yeah, it's looking beautiful. I think it looks really good. I love the variation in the glowing elements. I love that you've added a couple different colors here. I think that's really cool. I do, seeing this now, I do think, I love that you've emphasized a little bit more brightness in the foreground. And I think you might be able even to push that a little bit. And the idea, not necessarily, I think the foreground's looking pretty good, but like maybe brightening up the house a little bit and kind of, that's not what I want to do. And kind of, and even pushing this light a little bit further out from the house. Let's see. Because I think that pushing that element just a little bit harder, I erased too much, but you get the idea. I think it can really center our focus there. And then the other thing that you want to do is with these mountains, I love the way that this sun is kind of kissing the side of this and then kind of going darker over here. I think that we could do the same thing on this side and get a little bit of light over here, kind of wrapping around. And then I'm wondering if there's a way of getting some more shaping on this, like the front side of the mountain. Maybe it's just a matter of darkening it just a little bit more. And then the last note that I have is, let's try, and I guess it would be more like, because we've got the bright sun hitting here, we're going to have it over there. I want to incorporate some of this color, this kind of reddish sky, into some of the maybe even just the hills back there and allowing the blue to be here. So I think just having a very subtle bit of that red color in here, I think would help out a lot. But everything else is looking really nice. And then last thing, and this is why snow is so difficult, is like some of the snow in these trees directly around the house. It's when it starts to get hit with warm light, it starts to kind of look a little bit dirty. So I like the way that this snow down here is this nice kind of blue, clean, crisp color. I think we should desaturate or pull out some of the warm values, even though like they're getting hit from these things. It's more about like, I might separate out a separate element of just like a small area of warm light here, a small area of warm light here, and maybe a small bit here, and keep those nice and like make them more saturated while the areas around it kind of fall more into this blue snow color. It's really tricky and it's really finicky, but that's what makes, like I said, that's what makes snow hard. But overall, this is looking good. Do you have any questions? If you do, chime in. I don't know. You might. I always see people in their boxes, but they may not have microphone. Oh, there you are. Hello. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I think you're muted. Let's see.
We can't hear her.
You can hear her? Why can't I hear her?
Yeah, it might be on your end.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Try that. Say things now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, okay.
Great.
No, it's okay. I don't know how to fix the snow on the trees. I have to figure it out. But I try.
The easiest way to do that is anytime I work with snow, I get some mat passes. I render the snow either separately or through crypto mats or through a mat pass or something, just so I can always isolate them in the comp. Because no matter what, I can get the lighting as close as possible in the renderer, but you're going to always do some minor tweaking in the comp. So I would say take a stab at getting it a little closer in the render and get it as close as you can, and then tweak it, and then tweak the colors and the saturation a little bit in the comp.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Let's see. Oh, the late edition from Keven. Cool. Okay, yeah, I like her. I like this outfit color better. She pops a little bit more. I think the light from this is coming out a pinkish on her face, and I want it to feel a little bit more like this color.
So you want more of the explosion or more? Because that's actually coming from the shock, like the lighting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. This. I want to see more. I can
tone that down.
I want to tone that down and feel more of the fireball stuff.
Okay.
And this character can get more. He's feeling a little gray and underlit, and this. You almost have to light him like you would light an automobile or, just any other metal object. In that, it's like to brighten him up is not going to be about adding a bunch of lights. It might be a little bit, but mostly it'll be about giving things close by around him that can reflect and make the reflections a little bit brighter. So I would add some, just make some planes. And put them around and make them so their primary visibility is off and they only show up in the reflections and stuff, and that way it'll give the character a little bit more to reflect and make him a little bit brighter overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I made that mistake so many times when what was it? Spies in Disguise doing the Audi car commercial stuff. It was like I couldn't get the car to look right, and somebody who worked on a bunch of commercials, who used to work with Audi, came by, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're doing this wrong. Stop thinking about it this way. Think about the reflections. Don't think about lighting it. Think about giving it something to reflect." And once I did that, everything got a lot better. I would also consider darkening the helipad that they're on a little bit. I think that might ground it a little bit.
Yeah, I tried it a little bit. I'll try some different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of did this thing where it just became like it looked too dark to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So I'm still playing with that. Yeah.
Well, it might be about adjusting a little bit of the environment too. Like some of these buildings, like this one and this one, I'm seeing feel a little dead, and they could use some. Like this one looks nice and alive. There's a couple things you could increase the depth of field on some of this, and then you can add some like a shader or something on there that makes it look like some of the windows around.
Okay. Yeah, because at the end result is hopefully to get an animation out of this if my computer can handle it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like trying to check out different frames. I change things and then it follows. And yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you can over the weekend, render like a super low res version of it just to see, because again, like we could, like everything like looks good in a still, and we can adjust this and adjust that. But the second that camera starts to flip around, like it could break everything. So
Exactly.
like Ubed is showing us way up by having the camera spin 360 and just being like, no, it's gonna look good everywhere, and you're like, okay. So yeah. All right, cool. All right, I think. Montgomery. Sorry, one more. I love this reference that you chose. I think this looks really cool. I think it's such a great target point for you. And the biggest thing, because structurally this is coming together really well. Love the shape of this light. It's drawing our focus. There's good shaping overall. You feel this bigger world. Love the value changes coming across this back wall. Even though it's in shadow, you can still feel the darkness creeping in, which is great. The two biggest things that I would look into, one, I think the volumetric light on this is adding a little bit too much haze. I would pull that off slightly. And the second one is, like, if you look at the ground here versus here, you really, really use this as your North Star on how the ground should look on a, because like this feels sunny, right? You can see the light's kind of blowing out on the window, and then it's getting to this bright point right here. I think that you can find, and it doesn't need to be all of it. I would find like maybe an area right in here that would create a little more bounce up on this character to really, really push that brightness. And you can do it a couple ways. You can do it with a gobo, or you can use like a second key light that just adds a little bit more value right there and allows you to really get that bright spot. And then the other two big things of reference to look at was like, pay attention to how much bounce is coming up under the character's foot. You do have some good bounce light in there, but there may be opportunities to add more like secondary bounce rays kind of coming around here. And let's see. Yeah, and then this is the tricky part about the Lego bricks, is getting some subsurface in there. Because like if you look at these, like it's tough to see, but on the backside of when they're being hit by the super sunniness, it's not dark. It's actually kind of orange back there. You can see it here too. So I would work to get a little subsurface on your shaders as well. All right, cool. All right. Well, that is. Let's see. I'm sharing. All right, guys. That's it for this weekend. Do you guys have any questions before we part ways?
I'm good.
Thanks. Okay, great. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm good.
Congratulations, guys. This stuff this was a really, really beautiful day of images. That makes me so happy. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you all back again on Monday.
Thanks.
All right, be good.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you.